Will you endorse him if he wins the nomination?
I will certainly endorse the candidate who I feel can beat the Republicans, absolutely.
So, but if he's the Democratic nominee, will you endorse him?
I will do whatever I feel I can do as an American to make sure that the neo-fascist threat that is represented by some aspects of the Republican Party does not win in 2024.
In a blog post talking about possibly running for president recently, you said, change is inevitable in this country. We are either going to have a peaceful revolution or a violent one. What do you mean by that?
Excuse me, did you not cover January 6th?
Yes, so
what is happening in this country is that people who are experiencing vast amounts of economic fear, anxiety, when you have this much economic anxiety and millions of people experiencing that kind of desperation.
Do you think January 6th was about economic anxiety?
No, I did not say that. Well, but I do think that the election of President Trump the first time in many ways was, just as I feel that the support of Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump both said to the American people, I understand your rage. I understand you're upset with an obviously economically in politics, and I'm not surprised
I certainly understand that, but they do quote a few people. You're quite right. Quite a few of these were not identified. But this,
have you noticed that?
But this poor Paul Hodes, the former congressman, who had said that, this is consistent with my observation, quoting him, and consistent with behavior I have seen. What do you say?
I could talk about Paul Hodes' behavior, but I'm not going to go there. If anybody has ever felt that I was not respectful to them who worked for me, then I am sorry. But I also know that this is a hit piece. I think any time that somebody criticizes you, you always have to ask yourself, is any of it true? Is 10% of it true? If 10% of it is true, then I want to correct that within myself and within my behavior. But that's not what's going on here. Do I have something?
Free child care, tuition-free public and vocational schooling, $1 trillion in reparations to Black Americans. How are you going to pay for all of that?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Right now, take something like health care alone. University of Massachusetts at Amherst has just come up with a study that says over the next 10 years, it would actually save us $5 trillion to have Medicare for all. We now pay about roughly 18.3% of our GDP goes into health care. If you look at countries that actually have universal health care, which is every other advanced democracy, look at Germany, look at Canada, maybe 10%, maybe 15%. The question is, how do we not afford to? Look at what we are paying in health care now. We have an $88 billion medical debt. 1 in 4 Americans are living with medical debt.
I think we'll disagree on other stuff. I think it would be fair for Joe Biden to debate you and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Why do you think he's not debating, and do you believe he's in a steep cognitive decline?
Well, I think in a democracy, what's important is that people have a right to see their options. I think this is an extremely important time in American history, and anyone who feels moved to run for president should have their say, and the voters should hear what they have to say, they should hear their agenda, and the voters should decide who they want to be president.
Okay, how about part two of my question? Do you believe he's in a major cognitive decline?
I'm not a doctor. I'm not somebody who is testing his brain. I think every American citizen has to look at the president and listen to the president.
Does he seem like somebody that has the strength and stamina and is articulate to be president?
You know, I wouldn't be running if I didn't think that I was a better candidate. I think I have the energy, and certainly I have the ideas that are better.
You got to answer my
question. Because I don't. I'm not going to come on Fox News and talk to you, Sean, and say something like that. I'm not going to. I think every American can decide for themselves.
But if you believe it, you would tell us, would you?
I don't. My mind doesn't go into that. I don't believe that the energy is being demonstrated that I believe will be necessary in order to take on either DeSantis